Hi and welcome to the Interiors Insider podcast by AGC. I'm Tara, stepping in for Tori while she's off on mat leave. I can't wait to hear what today's special guest will share with us. So here we go. Good morning. Welcome back to our AGC podcast, all of our listeners. And today we are welcoming Laila, who's one of the senior management team at Plant Drop.
Hello,
Hi Laila.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Delighted. This is a really interesting topic and I'm sure our listeners are really kind of looking forward to what you've got to say. So we will kind of kick-start as a bit of an intro. So before we kind of, I suppose, dive into the world of plants and interiors, tell us a little bit about you and kind of your background and how you ended up at Plant Drop.
So I've kind of always worked with plants. I used to help my dad when I was younger, sort of growing little alpines and succulents in our yard. We'd then sort of sell them at things like boot sales and markets, and it kind of started from there really. And then I went on to work at a garden centre. My first ever job.
Everyone's favourite place to hang out on the weekend.
I know, that was just so
sure.
relaxing. I just love like the little bits, the like knickknacks.
Yeah.
But my first job there was actually as a Santa's elf in the Christmas grotto. And
decided that was a very seasonal job
rather
than kind of a full-time career.
Yeah, and I kind of thought, no, I really want to work with plants. That's what I want to do. Spoke to the GM about it and he said, oh, I don't know, they've run a tight shift around in plants. And I was like, oh, it's fine, I can do it, like, whatever. Then started working in the plant department and sort of like managing the hardy and herbaceous plants, so doing the plant buying for that. Then went to uni, hated it, dropped out, absolutely hated it.
Not for you.
No.
You missed your plant.
Yeah. And then I started up the company's online plant fulfillment centre. So I was managing that in terms of sort of like ranges available online and photo shoots, so doing consultancy for photo shoots.
Wow, so kind of very that creative side as well.
Yeah, and I think
nice.
Yeah, and I think that's where I kind of thought, oh no, this creative bit's really fun. Like I think I know what I know about plants now. Like let's do something a bit artsy.
Oh, very nice.
So then I started working for a plant design company in London. Which was good fun. That was commercial interior planting.
Yeah.
Lovely team. I think everyone who works with plants is always so...
Actually, I want to be very calm.
Yeah.
Very calm, yeah. Which I can tell from you already. And I'm sure our listeners can too.
So from there, a really good opportunity sort of came up to move to Bermuda and head up a commercial landscaping sector of a business there, which was amazing. So I was there for about 7 months, just sort of developing that side of the business for a garden centre.
Yeah, mega.
Surprisingly, a lot of commercial spaces in Bermuda, so I was actually run off my feet a
Oh,
lot more.
wow.
I thought it'd be a nice little break, but no, yeah, it was a really good time. It was sort of looking at all the gorgeous hotels, beach after work.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Especially in January when we're all feeling it a bit. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
why did you come back?
I think it was just what I realised is like that was it for me there, just because it is such a small place.
Yeah, for sure.
And what I kind of realised is that I'm a big homebody, and I always want to be home. And so it was a good 6-7 months.
Wow.
And then I got introduced to Plant Drop. So now I work with Dom in the team. Dom's our founder.
Nice.
Basically doing essentially the same as what I was doing in Bermuda, so sort of heading up the business development side. We've got a really sort of successful retail arm of the business.
Okay.
So just at the moment trying to develop the commercial interior planting.
Yeah, and obviously you are seeing it more and more, which kind of leads me to my next question, because kind of in the 70s, plants were everywhere, it was very cool, and then it kind of fell away a bit. We didn't really see plants, or it would be a bit like, oh, that's a bit interesting, they've got a plant in their bathroom or their kitchen.
Yeah.
So why do you think they've come back so strongly? Because they are everywhere now, and I feel that every house I go into, even if it's a friend's house, whether they are, you know, Mrs. kind of love nature or they could kill it in a day, everyone seems to have them.
Yeah. So I think in the 70s, sort of interior planting was all about sort of like abundance and real jungle vibes. So you'd have things like your chlorophytums hanging from the ceiling, grown massive. super robust. You'd have ficus robustas because they're robust, and really huge monsteras to sort of anchor a living room in the 70s. I think that's why it was so popular, is because the sort of like flower power legacies where the 70s it's like really matured. I'm not speaking from experience. I was born in 97.
I mean, that raises a valid point. Actually, so the whole flower, yeah, like you kind of don't put the two together, but yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, it all sort of, I'm guessing it all sort of ties in. And then sort of like minimalism was introduced and plants were messy and didn't stay looking the same because obviously they grow. So they quickly sort of disappeared from the picture. I think now the way we look at interior planting is we understand plants a lot more and what they need, and we design with sort of more intention for the space they're going in. So whether it's sort of in a residence, you want it to feel homely and cosy in a living room. In a commercial space, it's there to sort of tick a lot of boxes in terms of well-being and everything like that, and just to create a better atmosphere that people want to be in.
Yeah,
so I hope they're here to stay.
Perfect,
otherwise I'm out of a job.
I'm sure they are. It kind of, I suppose you may have even answered my next question, because I suppose as we see it, kind of plants in design elements and in the projects that we put them in, they're kind of added at the very end. And how do you see the plants working as part of the design language of a space rather than just a styling piece at the end?
So I think there's obviously layers to interior design in terms of finishes, furniture, etc. I really think that plants should be sort of integrated into those layers, because a big statement plant can, like a branched ficus lorata 200 centimetres tall, can anchor a space as much as a sofa can. So I think just sort of really incorporating it into designs where maybe there's joinery, incorporate planting into the joinery just to add that little bit of life into the space.
Yeah, make it not so flat, I suppose. Yeah. Nice. And different rooms, different plants, like what's your thoughts? Like, should we be kind of almost working the space and thinking, these plants were definitely like an entrance, say for instance, versus a bedroom. I'm very different spaces used for very different things.
Yeah. I think one of the important things to sort of look at when designing a space with plants is how often do you use that room? How often are you actually going to remember you've got a plant in there before?
For sure. You're like, oh, this poor guy. Sorry about that.
Sorry, forgot about you. So yeah, and I think obviously different rooms, different vibes. In a bedroom, you might have completely different tones and textures to what you have in the living room. And a lot of sort of libraries in private residences tend to be sort of designed in a way that's quite old school. So you might put a really large Kentia palm in there just to sort of contradict that already existing interior design. In a bedroom, you'd probably have something wide leaf just because it sort of gives a sense of more coziness.
Yeah.
And just being generally fuller.
Nice. This is learning. I'm liking it. And wellness and plants, because I suppose as soon as you said about kind of in the bedroom and stuff, and you kind of think, oh, actually, yeah, could I imagine a plant in my bedroom? I'm sure lots of people have plants in their bedrooms, but I suppose wellness and plants. We talk a lot about wellness in interiors in general, from like colour palettes to comfort to everything else. From your perspective, how do plants change the way we kind of live in a space?
So I think they do have a massive impact on sort of day-to-day life. I sort of, when I go into a client's office, for example, I met one of our existing clients the other day in Bromley, and I couldn't see the space without plants, because I was visiting there already sort of like plants in situ after our installation, and it looked amazing, and I was like, oh, I can't even imagine this space without plants like now.
Yeah.
And you always get such good feedback from the people occupying the space. They're like, wow, this has made such a difference, we're really enjoying this, and like we're excited to come in and see the new plants.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so it's always nice to sort of turn up on site during an installation to be like, everyone's really excited to see you. It's not like you're an electrician coming to, like a lift operator coming to fix the lift. No offence, you're very.
We love you.
So yeah, it's always nice, and it's always a nice welcome. But I think there's actual sort of like facts and figures behind the well-being and productivity and sort of lowering stress levels, especially in commercial spaces.
Yeah.
And sort of reducing things like depression in private residences, because it's kind of like having something to look after.
Yeah, and nurture.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I suppose especially in commercial spaces whereby, there are probably a lot of limitations in terms of what you can do in the design. Maybe not so much now, but however, maybe 20 years ago it was a very different story. So plants were probably one of the only things you could really use to try and elevate the space and kind of inject a bit of kind of feel good into it.
Yeah, and I think with a lot of places that I've been into recently, sort of like commercial spaces, if it's really well designed by an interior like you guys,
Stop it.
I've like seen such an increase in that over the past couple of years in like really thoughtful design in commercial spaces, and I think it makes it like such a more pleasant experience to be part of in terms of the planting design.
And so I suppose you approach it very differently in terms of what you would put in residential versus commercial, in terms of plant and scale, or how does it work?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you're sort of in the first consultation for, let's say, a residential space, it gets very intimate. You need to know when they're on holiday, who lives in the house,
Gosh, yeah.
how many people live in the house, how hot is your house, all of these questions.
At first they're like, why are you asking me these questions? Are you being nosy? Or is this,
I find I end up knowing more than they might know.
There's like, you haven't even thought about this, have you? Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of like knowing someone's like day-to-day habits and how they're living in their own home, that massively impacts the sort of planting we use. We might use more robust planting like Dracaenas or Ficus robustus, or just anything that's really going to withstand anything, just to sort of counteract maybe those breaks in maintenance.
Yeah.
Whereas in commercial spaces, if for example, if we know we're taking on the maintenance after, we like to take more planting risks. So possibly putting in a really gorgeous tall blue cedar in a really sunny spot because we're looking after it. We wouldn't give that to anyone else just because they are really tricky plants.
Oh, okay.
But I think, so just being a bit more extravagant in commercial spaces is really...
That must be fun.
Lovely. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
sure, I bet. And so if you're working with your commercial clients, do they have kind of a design lead as well? How does it work?
So some of them do. Some of them don't particularly care. They've just been asked to put plants in the office, which is absolutely fine. We still sort of do our best work nevertheless. With a number of my clients, previous clients and existing clients, one of my clients, I won't say their name, but she's really into pretty pots, and it's really exciting, and I love how excited she gets every time. I've done a couple of her offices now since when she's moved with different companies, and she loves it. She loves to be involved. We'll have a big call and she'll send me back a sketched up version, and I'm like
incredibly enthusiastic.
I'm like, you know what, this is great because it just gets stuff done.
For sure. Nice. And Plant Drop as a whole, what does the next few months look like for you guys?
The next few months we're going to really be focusing on our sort of like ready curated collections, that we've designed 3 different styles in sets of planting, ranging for small, medium and large spaces.
Residential and commercial?
Yeah, they're good for all. We've sort of used plants that are like really robust.
Okay. Which is good to know.
They can obviously be maintained by us, but I think that's where we've really seen that the difference between someone wanting a fully designed, fitted out space to wanting, oh no, that's beautiful, let me just buy those 20 plants for my large office. Sure. And they can go on, click the style that they want. And then and it's all delivered, potted up, and with a care guide,
So it's delivered in pots, or the consumer puts them in the pots?
It's delivered in pots, so we pot them up and finish them ourselves.
Perfect.
We don't place them, but you do get a sort of styling guide for your space. So a generic where this should go, where we think this would do best. And
brilliant. And so would a client have to send you almost like a briefing form, or kind of, this is what my space looks like, or this is the square footage, or how does it work? How do you match the right package as such?
So it's actually shoppable online to anyone.
Fine.
So they can either go and shop it freely themselves. We give as much information based on this is recommended for this square feet office or residences, etc. Or for example, it'll be a medium office / restaurant.
Fine.
So there is as much information there as possible.
Fine.
But we're always sort of available to help point people in the right directions, because there's nothing worse than putting some plants in, they all getting lost because your space is too big.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're always happy to sort of point people in the right directions, but they're just ready and there for people to see and shop.
That is a game changer, I think. So I think there's probably a certain group of consumers who are just probably too nervous to take that first step. So having that as almost like a package, I think is going to be kind of game changing for a lot of people. So guys, if you want any more information on that, obviously do reach out and we can put you in touch with Laila directly.
Thank you.
Okay, so the important stuff. Asking for a friend. Best plant to have if you're terrible at keeping them alive?
It's probably got to be a snake plant.
A snake plant?
For sure. Yeah.
What is that? Sorry for all the people that are probably thinking, how do you not know what a snake plant is?
It's sort of like a tall, spiky plant.
Okay.
They grow like absolutely mental in other countries in the wild. But here they're very drought tolerant, neglect tolerant, unfortunately. But they're really lovely plants. But you kind of can't kill them, and if you do, then we need to have a serious chat.
Okay, I'm making note of this snake plant added to the shopping list. Perfect. Okay, good to know. Is it true that plants recognise their owners?
So it really depends who you talk to.
In terms of what plant you talk to, or who you talk to?
Well, if you're like a plant parent, you're going to think, yeah, my plants know me. They definitely know me. Some people say, oh, yeah, they like recognise my face, and I'm like, oh, that's not true. But I wish, because that would be so.
No, okay.
But I wish it was true, because that is such a nice thing. But I think in terms of, they sort of recognise patterns and consistency. So part of me believes that if you walk through the door and it creates a light vibration, your plant's going to feel that. So a fair few plants, like fiddle-leaf fig, likes to be shaked. That's how they respond well to sort of shaking the stem. So I'm thinking, if they respond well to shaking a stem, they'd respond well to someone's vibrations on a regular basis. And they'd like, oh, the person, they're not, obviously they're not going to think, but they're going to be like, oh, okay, my owner's here. Do I sound mental?
Slightly, but I like it.
Yeah, okay.
That's really interesting. So there is something there in terms of the energy levels.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Heard it here first, guys. Final question. Most underrated plant for interiors that everyone should have in their home?
I would say an aspidistra. Or a cast iron plant. They are so elegant and so gorgeous, but they're also very low maintenance, similar-ish to a snake plant. But they just sort of have a different movement and feel. But yeah, no, it's a gorgeous plant. So,
do you have any in your home?
I don't. No.
Why not? Or do you go high end? Are you like, I talk to these guys, they feel my vibrations, I water them 4 times a day?
No, I wish. We're in the middle sort of like of buying our own house at the moment. Okay. And I'm actually under strict instructions that minimal planting from my partner.
Oh my goodness, that goes against all of everything you believe in.
I was like, well, this isn't very good for the image, is it? I've got to obviously have a house full of plants.
Yeah.
And so he'll come around. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Good to know. Well, good luck with the move.
Thank you.
And Laila, thank you so much. That's been really insightful. I've definitely learned some things. I hope all of our listeners have too. Everyone's kind of nodding here in the studio. So thank you.
No, thank you. It's been really fun. It's been really good.